Control of the central zones often reveals a club's true ambition more clearly than any published figure. Recruitment decisions in this area show how risk is priced, how tempo is managed across a season, and whether hierarchy trusts structure over impulse. At St Andrews, recent market behaviour points to a deliberate search for physical robustness and security in possession rather than short-term spectacle. That choice carries consequences for workload distribution, injury mitigation, and the sustainability of pressing phases during a congested second half of the campaign. Midfield depth remains the decisive pressure point. Championship seasons punish thin rotation, particularly as transition volume rises after January. A single addition in this area redistributes effort across the squad, easing exposure on defenders and reducing sprint load for attacking players forced into deeper recovery work. It also reflects a broader mindset, capital deployed early rather than reactive spending later. Opportunity cost cuts both ways, committing too soon limits flexibility. Weighting risks, performance drop-off during the decisive months. The focus of this strategy now centres on Hon Solis, with his move from Girona Football Club effectively agreed. The deal follows the club's decision to better Tigres UANL's proposal in overall terms, a process overseen by Chris Davies. Reporting from Cesar Luis Merlo confirmed that a permanent structure had been discussed, with later clarification outlining a loan valued at approximately €500,000, combined with a conditional obligation rising to €8 million after 11 league appearances. Girona head coach Mikel publicly acknowledged the departure as complete, driven by squad registration requirements linked to the pursuit of Claudio Echeverri. From a technical standpoint, the profile fits cleanly. At 21, physical potential remains untapped, while experience at La Liga level provides a base of tactical discipline. Usage patterns indicate the capacity to operate as part of a double pivot, absorbing pressure rather than dictating every phase of play. That reduces expectations of immediate creativity while protecting against overuse. Managed correctly, minutes can be increased gradually, lowering the risk of muscular injuries during adaptation to championship intensity. Asset value underpins the logic. An obligation of €8 million places the midfielder in a band that still allows appreciation across 2 or 3 seasons. Age alignment supports resale optionality, particularly if international exposure follows. The structure limits downside. A loan period functions as real-time due diligence, while the appearance-based clause ties financial commitment directly to sporting trust. Exit mechanics at Girona highlight how external forces shape the transfer. Pressure around non-European Union registration, intensified by an upcoming fixture against Espanyol, created urgency. That urgency favoured the buying club, compressing timelines and smoothing negotiations. Completion of medical checks remains procedural rather than tactical. Short-term impact depends on integration speed. If physical indicators stabilise within a few weeks, rotation options expand and late-season midfield fatigue declines. If adaptation takes longer, sunk cost remains contained. Strategically, the club positions itself between ambition and restraint, choosing calculated exposure over speculative excess. The immediate outlook points to a deeper, more controllable midfield, with risk deferred rather than ignored.